Roughly 2 months ago, there was a data breach at the Walt Disney Company where nearly 1 terabyte of data was stolen. And that has since been released on the internet. And the Wall Street Journal, among others, have pilfered through some of that information and found what included spreadsheets of certain financial data, things that they refer to as more granular detail on such enterprises like Disney Plus and what kind of revenue that streaming system by itself is actually bringing in. That's something a bit unique because Disney doesn't typically give us that. At least they haven't up to this point since Disney Plus started in 2019. We've always had revenues and operating income for Disney Plus piled in with other things like Hulu and ESPN Plus. Now, of course, about a year ago, Bob Iger decided to recast the financials of the Walt Disney Company, which separated ESPN Plus out from DTC or direct to consumer. So now when they report entertainment DTC, it's Hulu and Disney Plus, but Hulu is still in the mix. We've never gotten a clear detail of what's going on in Disney Plus, but this new leak does give us a little bit more information to see how maybe dire things are in that service.
Online. The leaked Disney data, and this happened a couple of months ago now, but apparently there's more details that have come out in the last couple of days. And one of the things, apart from, and I don't think, I haven't seen the actual data. I don't know how much it's out there. But obviously there was some financial data. There was private Slack chat messages leaked, all kind of stuff. Nothing according to these articles that were from C-suite per se. But this is where we are. Passport numbers for a group of Disney Cruise Line workers, Disney Plus streaming revenue, sales of Genie Plus theme park passes. Trove of data from Disney that was leaked online by hackers earlier this summer includes a range of financial and strategy information that sheds light on the entertainment giant's operations. According to files viewed by the Wall Street Journal, it also includes personally identifiable information of some staff and customers. The leaked file includes granular details about revenue generated by such products as Disney Plus and ESPN Plus, park pricing, offers the company has modeled in what appear to be login credentials for some of Disney's cloud infrastructure. The journal did not attempt to access any of Disney's systems. I like how they throw that in there. Hey, we didn't try anything illegal with this. We just looked at the illegally begotten information. We declined to comment on unified or unverified, information the Wall Street Journal has purportedly obtained as a result of a bad actor's illegal activity. So they did reach out to the Walt Disney Company at the Wall Street Journal, and Disney said, we know nothing, was basically their answer here, which I can't blame them. They don't want to confirm or deny the veracity of the information that has allegedly been leaked, because why would you? Why give it any credibility, even if it is real? But at the same time, people are proceeding forward as though this is real information. It very well could be. It probably is. We know how data leaks are, unfortunately, in this day and age. But Disney told investors in an August regulatory filing that it is investigating the unauthorized release of over a terabyte of data from one of its communication systems. Data that a hacking entity calling itself Null Bulge released online spans more than 44 million messages from Disney's Slack workplace communications tool, upward of 18,800 spreadsheets, and at least 13,000 PDFs, the Wall Street Journal found. So the Wall Street Journal, like I said, they got their hands on the whole thing. I don't even know if this is out there anymore. I think most of the websites that were hosting this illegally begotten information have been taken down, or the pages that contain the data has been taken down. Again, this was some months ago this happened, and I guess it's taken this long for a lot of these major outlets to really pilfer through some of this stuff. The scope of the material taken appears to be limited to public and private channels within Disney Slack that one employee had access to. I have a feeling that Disney figured out who that employee was. Might not be there anymore. They might be on a James O'Keefe video soon. We'll see. But that being said, this was some of the more interesting ones. So Genie Plus, one of these things, this was done at the, right when Bob Chapek was kind of in the middle of being a co-CEO or CEO still. Josh D'Amaro had taken over the parks. They did the Genie Plus bit. I think they claim here the file indicates that, again, allegedly, to show you how much people said Genie Plus sucked. Well, I told y'all when Chapek was doing this stuff, it didn't matter. All that mattered is what kind of money would it turn? Would people buy it? Well, apparently, over the course of, say, 2.5-ish years here, the leaked data indicates that Genie Plus generated more than $724 million in pre-tax revenue at Disney World by itself. That's a lot of money. That's a whole lot of money. That's an amazing
by the
amount
way,
of money. Yeah.
The fact that they are changing that, given how much money it's making, and given that the changes don't appear to be generating more, gives you some indication of just how unpopular it was that they would modify it despite those revenues. This was really unpopular. And it was a sacrificing of the long term of the parks for the short term, immediate monetary gain, extraditing every possible dollar from people's wallets once they pass through the turnstiles.
Yeah, and Genie Plus was basically, it was an app you'd put on your phone, and when you'd go into the parks, and I think you paid, what was it, $30 per ticket extra or something along those lines. It was an optional feature. You didn't have to have Genie Plus. You could pay extra for it. But it I think it did well, and I would assume, and this is the problem with this report that they don't put in here. They give us raw figures, and they say it's from October 21st through June of 24. Well, how did you get that? If that was on a spreadsheet, I would have loved to have seen the quarterly progression of it. Meaning, how much of that happened between October of 21 and say October of 22? I'd bet half of that or more. Because we all knew what happened with Disney parks after they were able to reopen. And all those international customers were coming in. Everybody was buying everything. Everybody was so pent up, they were dropping money right and left. And they would buy the perks. Hey, Genie Plus, the new thing, this will help us get on rides faster. My point, Pro, to answer your question is why are they changing it now, is because I don't think that this revenue is at all linear or on a growth trajectory. I think it went way down. I think Genie Plus was a big hit when it started. And then after about 12 months, and the polish came off the turd, and everybody realized how bad this was, and people were starting to make second trips into the park, especially the locals in Orlando, they all realized that Genie Plus is trash. It isn't worth it. And you go back and look at the progression of YouTube videos from the time it started to a year later, and probably tells the story. So probably what happened is in that first fiscal year, let's say they did $500 million worth of Genie Plus. I have no idea. But let's say it was that much. And then the second year it was down to 100. The next year it was down to 50. And I think that's what happened here. I think most of that was done right at launch or within the first 12 months to 18 months of launch. And then the other 18 months included in this or thereabout, it fell apart.
Makes sense to me. Yeah, I totally agree.
Yep. But one of the things that came out of this that was certainly interesting was in the quarter ended March 31st of this year, the second fiscal quarter for the Walt Disney Company. It said internal spreadsheets suggest that Disney Plus generated about $2.4 billion in revenue in the March quarter. That amounts to about 43% of revenue the company reports for its DTC entertainment business, which, as we remind folks, doesn't include ESPN Plus anymore. That's strictly Hulu and Disney Plus. So we've always talked about from a standpoint of what really do the numbers look like. And the numbers seemingly are kind of coming in more or less in line with what you can presume from the actual reports. Let me show you what I mean. Let me pull this down. I'm going to pull up one other screen here to go back to these reports. I think I have it laid into this. Excuse me, this one. If we look at the March quarter, here we go. If we look at the March quarter, all right, and we go down here to, well, first let's start with this. They show us here Okay, March 30th, 2024. So this is the quarter that are saying that, according to what they saw in a spreadsheet, Disney Plus itself, minus Hulu, did about $2.4 billion. Now, on this screen, all we have is the aggregate. All we have is Disney Plus and Hulu, which you'll see right here. Let me try to highlight this for y'all. Right there, boom, direct to consumer, this line here, okay? And that is under entertainment, which does not include ESPN Plus, like I said. $5.6 billion, okay? Right there, $5.6 billion. Now, if you come up with 43%, that's where they're coming up with. They said $2.4 billion on there. Now, the other way that we can determine this to see if the spreadsheet, again, we don't know if that was exactly for the whole quarter. We don't know what these spreadsheets were. There may have been data missing. So who knows? Again, I have not seen these spreadsheets, so it's all speculative. But it's interesting to discuss to see how raunchy Disney Plus has been. But if we look here, there's an easy way to figure this out. We take Disney Plus Core here, $7.28. That was the average measure for the quarter. $7.28 average revenue per user for Disney Plus Core. And during the quarter, they finished the quarter, not an average of how much they had during the quarter. They finished the quarter with about $117.6 million. Now, if you take $117.6 million and you multiply it by $7.28, you get there about $850 million.
I was told there wasn't going to be math.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Multiply that by 3, you get about $2.5 billion, $2.55 billion in the quarter, which is about $150 million more than what's suggested in these data leaks. So again, that's giving you an idea of where those are falling in line, because I had questions about that during the week, and I just wasn't able to address it. I've had this crud since Tuesday, and then we had 4 days of tropical storm weather this week, which, guess what? We're probably about to get 3 or 4 more this week. So when it rains, it pours, quite literally. But if you look here, just to kind of give you the power of what Disney Plus is, and the fact that it's obviously it's not generating much, because when you go back here and we look at what they made that quarter, if we go back down here, right, and we look at the actual revenues again, look at the operating incomes for entertainment. Scroll back down. I must have missed it. Did I overshoot it? Where did it go? Well, I had it. So here we go. I went the wrong way. My apologies. Direct to consumer for entertainment. This is the quarter that they showed they made $47 million. Yay. You know, $2.4 billion from Disney Plus, or $2.5 billion from Disney Plus that quarter, and $47 million here. So we don't know how accurate the $2.4 billion they gave in this leak is. I know what it says on the earnings report. I'll trust this for the time being, because this is what Disney actually reported. That makes sense. And we don't know exactly, again, how up to date or how complete that this leaked data was, because I haven't seen it directly. I've seen articles talk about it, but I haven't seen it. But the numbers seem to be more or less in line. Now, of course, I'm not including Star India, okay? So that's a whole other thing. They make an average of 70 cents per user on Disney Hotstar. You see it right here. 70 cents on 36 million subscribers. So not even $1 per sub. So we're talking about nothing. You know, you're talking about not even $100 million right there for the whole quarter for Disney Hotstar. So, any case. But you look at Hulu, you can do the same thing. SVOD, live TV, Hulu with live TV here. You can see the average revenue per user. And what Pro was talking about earlier, the Hulu with live TV, that's basically a complete, that's a full-blown cable subscription is what that is. That's, you get all of your cable through Hulu, right? I have Hulu now. I've been trying that with live TV just to see how it works, and playing with YouTube TV, see what I like, because probably Spectrum is going to wind up going. I mean, when you're going to charge me 25 or 30 bucks a month or whatever the hell they charge me just to get my local channels, they can kiss my butt. That's going.
Right. Let me ask you a question. So we did in-depth analysis of this, and I've got the That Park Place article in the private area. If you want to take a look, you don't have to. It's not necessary, but up to you. The lowest Disney Plus subscription plan for North America is $7.99. This data that was leaked out indicates that Disney is generating, off of Disney Plus alone, only $5.21 during that quarter per month per user, which is significantly lower than I think we were led to believe. Now, I don't know if they said it explicitly or if it was inferred, but that seems dramatically lower. And it also indicates to me that if that is the amount they are making per user, which is less than the lowest subscriber amount per month, that's not profit, by the way, that's revenue. If that revenue is that low for Disney Plus, I don't see how they can increase content suffice to keep the subscribers where they are. In other words, it doesn't seem to me that I don't see how they can churn. I don't see how they can expend what it's going to take to keep consumers staying with them if this is how little they're generating off of it. It's bizarre.
Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.